You know, I don't agree with the notation that every Sonic game is bad. Now, if you actually don't like how the Sonic games play, that's fine. However, most are just firing the bandwagon of Sonic hate set up by popular YouTubers that haven't actually played any Sonic games. I'm not saying it's the YouTubers in question's fault, however they did set up this yards bandwagon of Sonic hate. Now, I'm not saying that you have to play a game to have an opinion on said game. Yes, the game might actually subvert your expectations, however, not everyone can just go to the store and buy a game to realise that they don't like some of them. So, it has to be based on personal preference, and if the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise doesn't fit your preferences, that's fine, and in my opinion you can even have a discussion with other people who have or haven't played the game on why it doesn't fit your preferences. However, some people just use it as a way to hate on someone else's opinion. Anyway, in my opinion, I believe that there are a lot of good or even great Sonic games and that the good outweighs the bad. However, I also don't agree with the statement that every Sonic game is good because there are some really, really bad Sonic games. Sonic and the Secret Wings was developed by Sonic Team, obviously, but interestingly, it was originally planned as a port of Sonic 06 on the Wii. However, after finding out about the Wii's underpowered hardware specs, they realised that it would not be an easy task to port the game, meaning that it would probably release much after Sonic 06 released for other platforms, and that they would have to probably change certain things for it to run decently on the Wii, and at that point, they might as well create a new game. Sonic and the Secret Wings was in development for around 2 years, but was only programmed for around 1 year and was being made around Sonic 06's development and after it released. It was first shown off as Sonic Wildfire at E3 2006, but the name was changed quite a bit during development, finally being called Sonic and the Secret Wings, and was released on the 20th of February 2007 in North America, the 2nd of March 2007 in Europe, and the 15th of March 2007 in Japan. Now yes, this game was created during a time which a lot of Sonic fans call the Dark Age. Considered to be by many between 2005, Shaggy the Hedgehog's release, to 2008. Now, bad Sonic games did release before the Dark Age and after the Dark Age, however this was the time where just a bunch of bad Sonic games got released. However, that doesn't mean that everything had to be bad, right? Well, if you saw what I said earlier, I think you understand that unfortunately that's not the case. Far from it, actually. And if you haven't kicked off the video yet, that means you're here to watch my opinion on why I think it sucks, or I've just been murdered while watching this video, so never got to kick off it, but let's hope not. My first issue with this game is the missions. I don't think having missions is a bad thing, even if it's necessary to progress. I mean, technically, Mario 64 is mission-based and necessary to collect enough stars by doing missions to progress, and look how that game turned out. However, this game fails to create interesting missions and is really repetitive. Now, yes, like Mario 64, not every mission includes a new stage. However, there's a major difference. You see, look at this. You see how big it is? That's so you probably haven't done everything the level has to offer at once, so when it comes to doing new missions, it's still fresh and not repetitive. Now look at this. You see how not open it is and how quite linear it is. Not saying linear games are bad, but when missions are also included and you have to play some to progress and it's so linear that it's basically Temple Run, I think you see my point. A bit over exaggerated, but you still get the point. Now, I also understand that Mario Galaxy wasn't an open world 3D Mario game either, but I haven't played the games, so, I mean, I haven't think I go Wii, it's just one, or well, 2 of the games I missed, and they are on the top of my list of games to play, and in the top actually, so don't worry. Anyway, looking at how that game is regarded, I suppose that it does enough to change the levels enough during missions to make them fresh, and that they don't seem to be as linear. So, yeah. But at the same time, Sonic and the Secret Wings is also regarded as not a great game, but a good one by many, so you answer me. Anyhow, the missions in this game are affected by the linearity, as they normally just cut small sections from the main stage and change the little bits to accommodate for the missions. Sometimes they create a new stage for a mission, however even then, these extra side mission stages aren't all that great and are normally just something like a hallway. And the actual main stages aren't all that great either. Aesthetically, they actually look quite good. It's definitely not the best looking game, however the levels do look pretty decent and the level design concepts are pretty cool. The Arabian Nights setting allows for a lot of new aesthetics to be explored and they do a decent job. However, the actual level design is just bland. Now, they do a good job at disguised repetition in the main levels sometimes. For example, there are these sections with spike balls that move up and down and you have to avoid them. But in Dinosaur Jungle, there's this section with a dinosaur where you have to move and avoid getting hit. Both sections are very similar, but only with minor tweaks. They disguise the repetition. However, as soon as you realise this, it becomes hard to stop realising, and they only do disguise repetition sometimes. Most of the time, they just reuse a section without even hiding it. Again, like the section with the spike balls that appears constantly. I'm not saying mechanics can only be used once. Actually, certain mechanics in games improve over time due to them adding difficulty or changing up the mechanic to make it more interesting than when it was first introduced. However, this game doesn't really do that. Maybe sometimes they make it a bit harder, however I never really felt that the new difficulty changed it that much, or not enough at least to where it was still interesting to me. And again, the level designs are normally just hallways with some twists and turns and some enemies put here and there. And I understand Crash Bandicoot also uses straight hallways, however, Crash's levels are distinct and fun, and I guess Sonic and the Secret Wings levels can be distinct, well the main levels anyway, not the missions. But they're not very fun, just repetitive and boring and bland. Now, reasons for this include repetitiveness, like I've already discussed, mechanics not being fun in general. I'm looking at you, levitating one. When you're being pushed back and sometimes getting hit whilst being pushed back isn't fun. Or another reason might even be the controls. Now, this game is on the Wii, so I understand that it wants to use the Wii's motion controls, seeing as that's the Wii's main selling point, and it was also early in the Wii's days as a console. So the motion control gimmick was at the height of popularity, and it makes sense for it to be popular as it allows users to achieve more realistic motions, changing how you design the game. For example, bowling games were hard to make as pressing a button to bowl isn't very fun. However, with motion control, you can do the motion of actually throwing the bowling ball and it actually throws it in the game. I understand, however, shaking the controller to make a blue hedgehog do a homing attack isn't very realistic, and I know it wasn't supposed to be realistic, else they wouldn't have gone for an Arabian Nights setting, but even if it was just to rely on that motion control flag to catch a few extra, the extent this game takes it to is insane. Unlike games like Super Mario Bros. Wii, where certain commands were accessed through motion controls, however most of the game mainly uses button inputs to control Mario, this game is the exact opposite. Only certain commands like jump are accessed through button inputs, the rest uses motion controls. Now I understand back in 2007 this may have seemed impressive and cool, I say that in big quotation marks. However, nowadays, after the motion control fag, I think we'll realise that motion controls are just a gimmick, and that button inputs are much superior, which creates a problem for games like Sonic and the Secret Wings, which uses motion controls so much. And yes, I personally believe this affects the game's quality. For example, in a kite flying section, it would have been so much easier to use the nunchuck or even the G-pad for this section, but yeah, it's completely motion control based. I have to constantly move the controller around in uncomfortable ways that aren't just holding it normally. Okay, granted, it's not that bad, and like Splatoon shows, it can be done fine. However, the difference here is Splatoon uses motion controls to move the camera, not the character, and if you don't enjoy using motion controls in Splatoon, you can turn them off and do it with a joystick instead, which you can't do in Secret Wings. And I don't know why, but in Splatoon I feel like I have more preciseness to where I move the camera than I do using the motion controls to control Sonic in this section or the rest of the game in general. Maybe it's because Splatoon is on newer hardware, but still, in Sonic and the Secret Wings, I feel like I don't have as much preciseness, so that getting hit wasn't always my fault. And like I said, this creates a problem when most of the controls are motion control based. The controls are to move the controller left or right to move Sonic well left or right, shake the controller to perform a homing attack, some button inputs like 2 to jump, 1 to stop running, up and down on the D-pad to perform a speed or time break, more on that later, and some other basic control options. Plus, by completing missions, collecting wings, etc., you can level up to unlock things like new missions and new skills that you can equip to a wing, and they give you a new skill such as Turbo Boost, which by shaking the controller at the start of the level, you can start running at full speed. There are actually some variety in these controls, even though it's mainly motion controls. However, due to Sonic always running unless you hold 2 to charge, you'll jump, or 1 to stop, this leads to you not having complete control of Sonic, which is weird for a Sonic game, and definitely limits the levels and how they can be designed. However, I guess in a weird way, it leads to a new opportunity with how these levels can be designed too. Unfortunately, they don't take advantage of this, and the levels are again just basically hallways, and to go back if you've missed anything, you have to pull the controller towards you. However, the camera doesn't change angles, so you can't see what's ahead of you when travelling backwards, meaning you can end up getting hit a lot. This is especially a problem when you're at full speed and enemies which you have to defeat in order to progress spawn after you pass them, meaning you have to go back to get them. But I usually end up getting hit because I can't see them behind me. Also, with the motion controls, there's like a 5% chance that it won't always respond correctly, which doesn't seem that bad, but I feel like this happened most often when I attempted to go backwards out of danger, and sometimes it led to my death. There were also 2 moves called Speed Break and Time Break, which by filling up your gauge by collecting pearls or defeating enemies, anyway, by doing this you can do a speed or time break. The speed break speeds Sonic up, making him move forward super fast for a short period of time, and the time break slows down time for some time. The time break I hardly used. I feel like it isn't that useful unless there's a section specifically designed for it, which can sometimes be cheesed without even using it, meaning that most of the time I hardly even use it. The speed break, however, is more useful, especially in races against Uhu, where it can give you a massive lead. I found myself using it a lot more to skip sections. However, a problem is that sometimes I end up getting hit by spike balls because they decided I can't be invincible against these spike balls whilst using the move, and sometimes I ended up falling off a cliff because it ended right as I was in mid-jump. Overall, they're okay moves, just not always useful and can leave you vulnerable. In general, the motion controls are just annoying, and I would have much preferred button inputs and moving the Sonic around with an analog stick on the nunchuck, and without these extra digital moves, this game really feels like the equivalent to a phone game minus the microtransactions, which is a not great comparison to make, especially when it's a 3D platformer like Sonic. The music in this game is good, definitely some good tracks. But nothing I agree listening to outside this game, seeing as other Sonic games had much better OSTs, or at least had tracks I preferred more frequently. Now, my main problem is the main theme, 7 Wings in Hang. Now this song is decent, however my problem is how often it's played. It's played on the title screen, the level select, the mission select, and the final boss, and probably some other places. This might not be too bad, however whenever you beat a mission, instead of being sent to the mission select screen, you're sent back to the stage select, and then you have to choose the mission again, meaning you end up hearing the song constantly. And with the final boss, it's a weird situation as there's a theme used when you fight a Razor in the antagonist, yet it's used with a fight of him that isn't the final boss. Why not use it there, as it's probably a more important part as it is the final fight of the game, but instead they use the main theme, which I guess is a common trope in Sonic games, yet unlike other Sonic games, I prefer this song much less, which is probably why I get bored of it when it's played so often, even though other Sonic games use their main themes quite a bit also. Either way, the OST here is fine, and skill of saving grace for this game. The story is weird as it's a mix of the usual Sonic story, you know, collect the 7 objects in order to defeat the big bad final boss, but with a few twists. To begin with, instead of being set on Mobius, it is instead set inside a book about the Arabian Nights. Well, at first you're inside Sonic's house? I mean, he has to live somewhere, I guess. Anyway, a genie called... Wait, let me check. Shawa tells Sonic that he is to save the Book of the Arabian Nights, which is being erased by the evil Eraser Djinn, a much more powerful genie, but one who is striving for even more power by trying to absorb the power of the book, so he can unleash into Sonic's world. Anyway, they go into the book and confront a Eraser Djinn who is looking for the 7 world rings, basically the Chaos Emeralds of this world, and when he realises that Sonic hasn't collected them, he tries to shoot Chawa but instead hits Sonic. He says to Sonic that he shot him with a flame that will eventually go out killing Sonic unless he collects the 7 world rings in time and give them to a Eraser Djinn. And so you and Shawa go around the world collecting these special wings, trying to save your life, meeting up with these wacky characters who mostly consist of Sonic's pals. However, they aren't actually Sonic's pals, as in fact they're characters in this world who just look like Sonic's pals. It doesn't make sense, but oh well, it's a way to include them, so I don't mind. We find out that Eraser Djinn was sealed in the amp due to his misdeeds and had a sentence to serve 1,000 people their wishes before he was released. But after he had done so, he continued in his evil ways and now takes vengeance on the people and their world. You confront Eraser Djinn at his palace where you still haven't collected all the world wins, and you face off with him and then roll credits. Wait, what? But I haven't done the main objective yet. Yeah, this game, like I said earlier, has missions you need to complete in order to progress, and they especially stack up before the final stakes and after you beat Eraser Djinn in his palace. I don't know why, but it seems like you have to do so many more missions here, and you collect a bunch of world wins during this period instead of having them spread out during the whole game, leading to basically this grind to collect the wings. And if I wasn't reviewing this game and hadn't already given up at this point, this would have been the last straw. It was already so repetitive. However, this was like a whole new level of uninteresting. Anyway, there's this door that needs the world wings to open, and once you collect the world wings, it opens within a Eraser Djinn who wants you to give them to him and forces Shawa to hand them over. However, Sonic, as the holder of the wing that controls Shawa, wishes Shawa to do what's right, making her stop, but Eraser Djinn still obtains the wings. However, in order to obtain the power, he has to make a sacrifice and offers up Sonic's life. However, Shawa blocks the attack, killing her. Eraser Djinn uses the power of the wings and transforms into this thing. I mean, even what is it? Anyway, Sonic also uses the power of the wings. Don't question how he's able to do it. They just kindly like fly into him and he becomes Dark Spine Sonic, basically this world's version of Super Sonic. He looks pretty cool. A bit like a game version of Dark Sonic from Sonic X, and even though yes, it does look like a Hot Topic Shopper's Sonic OC, it is also cool to see a new version of Super Sonic, and his design is still pretty cool. Anyway, the two Duke Nukem it out with Sonic winning, and he uses the lamp that was an object Shawa gave him earlier in the game that broke when she died to make Eraser Djinn commit 3 wishes. 1, to bring Shawa back to life. 2, to redo all the damage that Eraser Djinn has caused, and the 3rd wish, to forever trap Eraser Djinn inside the lamp in a pretty cool cutscene. Once Shawa is back to life, she gets a bit upset until Sonic asks a wish from Shawa, and that wish is,
I wish for a mountain of handkerchiefs.
Yeah, I get it's meant to be sentimental, however, it's still just as dumb as the internet mocks it for. Overall, the story is good. It's not the most complicated story ever, however, I don't expect it or really want that from a Sonic game, and the spin it gives to the story is fresh enough to make it an interesting story. It's presented in a book-like style, which I know was most likely done like this for budgeting reasons, which explains why they aren't fully animated. However, I like it. I think it looks pretty neat and cool to watch. So again, the story isn't too terrible, but not amazing either, and a bit dumb at some parts, like a flipping mountain of handkerchiefs. Come on now. This game might not be the worst Sonic game ever, or even a terrible one like I thought it would be. However, it's still a bad to mediocre at best game. The level design is boring and most of the time not enjoyable. The controls are surprisingly expansive, however unpreferable due to the motion controls not always being as precise as I would like. The music is decent, definitely a good part of this game, even if it's not as good as Sonic games. And the story is a good mix of usual Sonic stories and the originality. You get to a decent story, and definitely a better one than Mr. Edgy and Mr. Bestiality over here. So overall, this is a game that I cannot recommend. Not the worst, but nowhere near the best. Oh yeah, there's also a party mode. We're just gonna not talk about that.